Hi, welcome to Two Non-Doctors. I'm Liz Mealy.
I'm Maria Shahada.
I don't know why I decided that using my hands is a way of showing enthusiasm.
You didn't just decide that. You've been like that forever.
Yeah, but that's how I get ready. Like if the hands don't appear in the screen, I'm just like, am I really present? Am
Maybe
I
it's because
really giving it my all?
you feel like you're not enough and you're like just to
Maybe.
emote fully. Hi, when really just hi.
You know what I really
Hi.
think it is? I
Mm.
think it's because I'm small. And you know how tiny animals, like birds, will try to puff up, like animals will puff up their fur, or like birds will puff up their feathers to show to make it look like they're bigger than they are, to intimidate or distract. I don't know. But
Yeah.
that's kind of how I feel, where I'm like, maybe if I make my hands big and crazy, people will fear me.
That's what you want when you start the podcast. You want to be feared. You're like
I more want to be heard. I think it's a way of getting people's attention, but I think I've just taken my Italian nature and just taken it too far. That's what I
it's
think
good.
is
I
happening.
like it. I like it because it's like the opposite of every instinct I have, which is none of that.
When you're just like, I have a shell, I crawl in it, I send a
Yeah.
text message.
I'm hiding under my hair.
Yeah. I do also, when my hair is curly, have big hair. So maybe I really am just trying to be bigger.
See me. I did this there's a book called Creative Visualization,
Mm-hmm.
and I was doing an exercise. It was helping me figure out what my limiting beliefs were. So it said to list 20 reasons. The reason I can't have what I want is, and so it kind of gets you to admit to yourself why you don't feel like you should get something.
And why you might not put yourself out there in a certain way.
Exactly. So this job kind of came up out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to get that. And then so this was like, why aren't you going to get it? And I was like, because I'm not good enough. Because I'm not, I'm an imposter, because I'm not funny enough, because I don't know how to do it, because this and that. And then I was like, because I'm not a real person, because I'm a joke, because I'm and then I got to because I'm cute. And I was like and I told you about how when I was little, people used to call me cute, and I was like, I'm not cute, because cute means little, and I'm not little, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
I was discovering all of that again, all the my parents infantilizing me, and feeling like comedy isn't a real career, and not being a real person, and not making real adult money, and all of this stuff that I've kind of internalized my whole career path as dumb or a joke. And so I'm
Yeah.
like, I wouldn't get this because of that. And then I was like, oh wait, no, I'm a real person.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm real. So did it help you move past those feelings to start, I know it's not like you write a list and all of a sudden you're just like, I'm good enough, but did it at least help you quiet the
It did,
shitty thoughts?
actually. It actually did. It was really helpful. And it's not like they go away automatically, but at least you recognize them. And I'm aware of the limiting beliefs I had. They used to be subconsciously, and now they're more consciously. And so then I can just move past them easier. I'm kind of bringing them to the surface. It's like getting the gunk out of a zit. You're just sort of getting that blackhead out, right? You're just bringing it to the
Yeah.
surface.
You've always had a face. It just had some dirt stuck in there, but you're
Yeah,
still a face. You still
right.
have one. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I always find my limiting beliefs 5 years after, where I'm just like, "Oh, I didn't submit to that because I don't think I'm good enough."
Yeah.
Which I knew that 5 years ago, and then I'm like, "I'm gonna
Well,
remember
what was
this."
your excuse 5 years ago?
My big limiting belief when it comes to my career is that I'm not gonna get it, so why try? This
Okay.
kind of, you know what I mean? So, I remember this so clearly, and I've had to come to terms with the fact that I've done some self-sabotaging stuff, but, one of our, I think it was our, the big European tour that I ended up doing, and you were there, and we did it kind of together. I ended up getting a bunch of stuff out of nowhere. A couple weeks before I was leaving, I got an audition for, Last Comic Standing, and which I had auditioned for before. What was that show on MTV? Girl Code? Yeah,
Yeah.
Girl Code and Guy Code or whatever. I got an audition for that, and they were still figuring out, and I could have stayed and waited, but I was like, I'm gonna stay and wait. So I went, and then I was asking my manager, can I do a self-tape? Which is funny that they were one said absolutely not, and the other one was like, sure, but clearly didn't care. But I wouldn't cancel anything because A, I was making good money, B, I was traveling the world, and that's what I wanted to do, and I had done this all myself, and I worked my ass on it, and 3, I just figured I wasn't going to get it. What am I going to cancel my tour I take a lot of risks in my career, but they're very calculated risks, and more has to be towards, if it doesn't work out, I don't lose anything. And in my mind, if I had risked not going on the first week of this tour or whatever it was and losing a bunch of money, not only would it have financially crippled me because I was in a place where every gig counted, but I couldn't have handled if it didn't work out. I couldn't have handled if I canceled that tour or canceled stuff and was in a financially fucked place and then I didn't get either. I just couldn't handle it. And so I did what I was already planning on doing. And it took me years to realize, like, I had worked really hard to get people to pay attention to me, and then they did. And I just continued to do my own thing because I don't trust the industry to actually take care of me, which I
Yeah.
kind of in some ways don't think is wrong. But I do see now that sometimes I don't fully put myself out there when it comes to other people, like the industry judging me, because they ask for so much and give so little. Hey, can you
Mm.
show up at this audition 6 times in a row? Please cancel all your plans. Da 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 da. America's Got Talent. I remember I got really far in it. And then they were like, okay, this weekend you're probably going to go to Vegas, but we don't know yet. And it was getting closer and closer. And I refused to cancel the weekend I was doing because I was like, I know they're going to let me down. And if I cancel that weekend, I'm out of money and this. And then they ended up not doing it. But I don't know if that was like limiting beliefs of being like, I'm not going to get it.
It feels like you're telling us why limiting beliefs work out for you.
No, I actually don't though. Like I can sit here and say like my path has been a lot longer than other people and blah blah blah, but I could also say that there were times where my path could have been shorter and I chose not to take it of fear of the emotional repercussions if it didn't work out exactly the way I wanted it to, or the fact that I didn't fully believe in myself and believe that I could show up in that way for auditions or what
Oh,
have you.
yeah, I think that's why I didn't, like, bother I auditioned for Last Comic Standing, like, once, and then I just never did it again because I was like, I don't think I can do it," and then, like, people at our level were getting on, doing it, and becoming famous, and it was just like, "Well, if they could do it, I could have done it." Like, why did I
Yeah.
have that thing in me that said but to be honest, I think everyone's ready at different times, and I didn't wanna put my comedy out there that early on, it wasn't up to my standards, so, like, part of it
Yeah.
was insecurity, but I was insecure because I didn't like what I was doing, I knew I was still on my way to something, I was funny enough, but I wasn't anywhere near where I wanted to be performance-wise, writing-wise. I mean, sometimes you subconsciously know what you're ready for and what you're not. Once you are ready for something, like, what are the thoughts that are keeping you from if life is sort of like it's like a mix of luck and skill, right? Sometimes that skill's not there and you know it, and so you don't try. But once the skill's there, you need the luck. Your limiting beliefs could sometimes stop that luck from happening.
I agree with
Or
that.
so it's just you need to clear the path so that they can meet and then your life is grand. But when you're coming up, you kind of know on some level this isn't you knew on some level you were going to be exploited, you know? Like
Yeah, I just also like now looking back, like 2020 vision, like I don't know if I could have handled not only like the rejection of it not working out, I don't know if I could have handled it working out. I just wasn't
yeah.
mature enough. I know that. Like I spent a lot of time being like upset and bitter that I didn't get certain things, but also looking back, I was like, I wasn't comedically mature and I wasn't emotionally mature enough to handle that. And I would not be the comic I am today if I got any of the opportunities I wanted when I was younger. And some of them and we can kind of talk about this later with our topic, but like some of the things that I wanted were purely to feel good enough. Purely to feel like I was valid, to feel
Yeah.
seen. And it had nothing to do with my abilities and my craft. It had everything to do with feeling like I couldn't be loved as I was. Like I had to heal my pain in a very not only toxic community, but like a toxic art form in the sense that I'm like, look at me, talk about my problems, laugh at my jokes. Like I love comedy, but it is not. You don't get nobody gets into comedy for healthy reasons. But I
Yeah.
tried to heal, and I still have things I struggle with, but I tried to heal and make comedy as healthy as possible. And when I started paying even more attention to the stuff I love, like the craft and the challenges of the craft, as opposed to the success and the challenges of being seen and famous and all the other things that I needed to feel like I was lovable, that's when I stopped caring. Like, you know what I mean? Like when I started to realize some of my self-sabotaging things, I really beat the shit out of myself. And now I look back on it and I go, I just wasn't ready. On every sense of the word, wasn't ready. So it's been a long healing journey to take this very toxic art form and community, as we all know, and industry, and put it in and make it, if not healthy, at least not putting me down an even worse mental path.
Yeah.
Announcements?
Yeah.
Patreons. Patrons, you're wonderful. Thank you so much. We genuinely appreciate you. If you're already a Patreon, you know about our bonus episodes. We now have weekly bonus episodes since we are in season 2. If you didn't know, we have stickers. We have, you can control our Googles. You can become a Google guest. But for $5 up, you start to get our weekly bonuses. So check us out, patreon.com/2nondoctors.
Follow us on the socials. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at 2nondoctors, the number 2 full word doctors, and at Instagram, 2nondrs. And if you haven't yet, give us a rate and review. That would be really kind on Apple Podcasts. It helps us get seen. It helps people discover us. It helps us feel good. And thank you to everyone who's left us really kind reviews. We're happy. We're happy about them.
Yeah. And then personal announcements. My book comes out March 30th, Why Cats Are Assholes. You can pre-buy it now. And then I'll be in Portland doing 2 outdoor shows April 3rd at Alberta Street Pub. All the information's on my website. The second show's already sold out. So I think there's only a couple tables left for the first show.
Is Andrew opening?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, cool.
Andrew
and Andrew's
Slater.
Very
I'm
cool.
excited.
Very funny. Will you turn me down?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Cool. It's going to be in my little assessment. Turn volume down. Okay. Fan mail?
In what assessment? My co-host was really good, really on it, had a lot of useful information, never knows how to work the volume, technically a bit off, but 8 out of 10.
Both. Yeah. Okay, fan mail.
This is a Patreon comment from Vijay. He says, hey guys, first, Maria needs more content online. I checked out all the YouTube stuff and it's great, but too short. Oh, just like me, what? I know I need longer stuff on YouTube, but I got what I got. So I also just listened to the love episode and wanted to share my take on what love is. I think love is just the intuition that something is worth it. Relationships build over time and become valuable as a partnership in all things. The butterflies and all of that is what gets you to look past the little things and start building that relationship. But like Maria's parents, mine are also an arranged marriage, Indian, and it's interesting to see how love has grown from that. Because if you have a relationship and you build on it, you will naturally feel a stronger intuition that the relationship has value, even when something makes you question it. It's that intuition that may make you miss the red flags, but overlooking some things some people see as warning signs is necessary to build the relationship.
I just thought it was an interesting perspective. I mean, I always think that people that grew up either with arranged marriages or even just like, not that the 50s was arranged marriages, but we hear it all the time where they're just like, why don't marriages last like they used to? And you're like, women's rights? You know, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like the fact that we're able to have our own money, so we're not trapped by someone else's income. The fact that if we're being hurt or bad things are happening to us, we can leave.
We got jobs. We're meeting other people. We're like, my boss is way harder than you.
Yeah. That's the aggressive way of saying it. But like, no, like I just feel like people don't acknowledge that marriage in a lot of ways was a trap for so many women, both societal traps or emotional traps. Where were you going to go if you didn't have the money or the resources or the community, as well as if you weren't able to push against societal judgments of you and being ostracized, the belief that you get married and nobody else gets divorced. So then you're just, I guess I'm going to just acknowledge I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life. There's so many fears around it, and that's just not true anymore. So I think both looking at like my dad who grew up in the 50s, not, you know, his parents weren't an arranged marriage, but it was this kind of like, this is very Catholic. This is one person forever till they die. And then all my friends that have arranged marriages, this is what it is. You figure it out, you make it work. And that's just not how society is going forward. And I don't fully think it's a bad thing. Not that I'm saying that's what Vijay was saying, but like, there is a part of me that's like, there's this belief that things were done better in the past or that arranged marriages had a better idea. And I think in some ways we can pull from it, which is companionship, accepting flaws, making it work and trying hard and not fleeing at the first sign of conflict. But then on the other side, I'm sure that Vijay didn't completely mean this, but I think some red flags are red flags, no matter if they show up day one or show up year 5. And I think you always should assess them. And like, I remember my therapist telling me, like, is this enough in my past relationship? Is this enough? And it took me so long to kind of understand what she was saying. But I think in some ways, a look at a relationship that I'm in and I go, this is making me uncomfortable. This is making me not feel seen or loved or heard or whatever. But can I get it somewhere else? Are there other things that this person is doing that are exceptional and that this can be overlooked, or not overlooked, but accepted? Nobody's perfect. No, nothing is seamless. There's always conflict, whether it's a friendship or a relationship or a work environment. You always are going to have to figure it out. But if it's an overwhelming, I can't be happy in this, I don't think that's something anyone should stay in, even if it is love.
I think the red flags thing is funny. Like, have you ever been in a relationship and then you were like, do you know what? I saw this at the beginning and I just ignored it. I was like, that's fine. I'm sure that's fine, right? You just sort of go, we're just going to push that aside. Like, when I dated this guy and he was telling me the story about a conflict he got in, and like his side of it wasn't great at all. And I was just like, seems like you're being a real dick in this situation, but you don't say that. You're just like, oh my God, they're assholes. Fuck them. Right. But you're just like,
what?
I'm pretty sure you were the dick here. And then later on in the relationship, you go, yeah. I saw it. I saw that. Yeah.
It feels like a thread on a sweater where you're just like, I'll get to that later. I'll pull it later. And then you pull it and the whole dress comes apart and you're like, oh no, I should have just, can I tape it back? I don't want to see any of that.
Returned it when you saw the thread in the first place.
Exactly. I should have returned it. Because like even some red flags are a projection of your own fears. Also, I'm like a giant red flag. Like it's so hard. Like you just like dipped out and I have to,
you should know by now, I'm just wiping my nose. I'm on prescription strength allergy medication and this is still how I breathe. Like,
oh, muffin face.
Yeah. That sucks. Oh, and I'm an absolute fucking zombie too. I'm just like, anyway, sorry. But yeah,
I can imagine.
The red flags can be a projection of yourself, but also things that you're just like, I know this is going to be, we're going to clash when this comes up later when I'm not as in love with you,
Yeah, it's so hard. And that's why like I do think of like, arranged marriages or 50s marriages, but like by the time you do, the red flag is a problem. You have a house and like 3 kids and like, you know what I mean? And you're like, oh shit, it's too like we're too intertwined. And again, now that's not the excuse that it once was to make it work. Now they're just like, I guess we're fucking getting another house and I'm going to be over here and you're going to be over here and I'm going to see you every 3 days. But I don't know. Like, I know I have a lot of, even when I said it earlier, like relationships are a trap. That's like one of my limiting beliefs that we were kind of talking about earlier. I believe relationships are a trap and I know that's a problem. And I know that gets, I know it's a real issue. Like I really started to worry in my last relationship that I was going to be trapped. And I was unhappy in a lot of ways. So of course that would come up, but I've been happy in relationships and still felt that way. And I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
But I know I have a limiting belief about relationships in general, marriage, believing that they in the long run are going to be a trap. And when you do that, I can see that I put up walls. So I've always had a disdain for marriage or a belief that I don't want to be a part of it, and that's lessened. I don't see that as much. I'm still not like, let's all do it. But getting into a relationship, I feel anxiety. And then while I'm in the relationship, when it starts to get to the next steps, like I've only lived with one boyfriend, but like when it gets like I remember that's when I broke up with a boyfriend probably 8 years ago. I already knew I was like not on the same page as him. But as soon as he said, he's like, I was thinking we could move in together, I ended it within a week.
Yeah.
How bad is that? And if anything, it kind of made me realize like I didn't want to be with him, but I also like, I really feel bad that like, he was like, I'm here with you. And I'm like, I am not. Goodbye.
I mean, I think that was the healthiest thing you could have done. What unhealthy thing would have been like, yes, great idea. I hate this every step of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vijay, thank you so much for writing.
Yeah, thanks, Vijay. I don't know if we helped at all, but I appreciate you. Okay, Google's.
Yeah. You want me to go first?
I want to go first.
Okay.
I don't know why. Okay.
Like, no problems here.
No, let me go first. Okay. Why is my eye twitching? Okay. I've always known, and this is without ever Googling, I've always known that when my eye twitches, it's always this eye. When my eye twitches, I'm really tired. And it would usually happen when I was on the road, when I was taking all these 6 a.m. flights. And after like weeks of doing it, this eye would start to twitch. And it's like, I don't think anybody notices it, but it's extremely distracting. And I have a hard time like focusing. So
Yeah.
for like 4 days now, this eye has been twitching. I've been doing podcasts and you have to look at yourself now. So now I'm like, can anybody see it? And then they're like asking me a question and I'm just like, these are great questions. Like, I just like can't focus. And it started to freak me out because it was like, I'm sleeping fine. Like I'm not traveling. I mean, I've traveled a week ago, but like I'm sleeping 7 to 8 hours. So it was just kind of freaking me out. Okay. Causes of twitchy eyeness. Fatigue, which makes me feel good that I figured that out on my own without Googling, but fatigue, stress, caffeine, alcohol, smoking, light sensitivity, and then of course some medications. I am on none. And then very rare cases, it could be like brain or nervous system disorders like Parkinson's, brain damage, multiple sclerosis, Bell's palsy, Tourette's, dystonia. I don't know what that is. Okay. Maybe it's stress or fatigue. I don't know. It doesn't feel any different. And I'm not doing anything out. I'm just like in a different place doing the same stuff and I'm sleeping fine. If anything, sleeping better because pasta was like waking me up every day at 5 a.m. and that's not happening. But the change I made, this is going to sound so dumb and silly. Remember I was drinking my black tea with sugar and milk and I said, no, we're going to stop that. So I bought green tea and now every morning I drink like 2-3 cups of green tea. And I'm wondering if green tea has a significant more caffeine than, and also I would have 1 cup of my black tea with my sugar and milk. And also because I put so much milk in it, it was like this much, black tea and then like this much milk. Like it was like almost half and half. And now I'm just having a cup of plain green tea and I will have like 2 or 3
in
cups.
a row.
Yeah. Is that a lot?
I mean, dang, because
I've green tea.
I've been drinking a lot of caffeine, like seriously every hour I'm making a cup of tea or coffee. It's too much. And I get that. Green tea I find it's not that it has more caffeine. I think it actually has less caffeine, but the way it's released in your system is a lot slower. So like if I drink green tea at night, I can't get to sleep at all. But if I drink black tea, I can because it'll spike. I'll have my caffeine rush and then it'll fall. The green tea is like steadier and takes longer.
Remember you used to make iced green tea when you stayed with me years ago?
Yes. And I just made some. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So I was doing that for a while after you left because I really liked it. And it just felt, we made it with honey. It felt a little healthier. But I realized very quickly I had to make it half calf. Like I had to do half the tea bags.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was getting anxious. And I was like, what? It's green tea. But I don't drink coffee. And I wasn't at that point even drinking that much black tea. And I was getting like anxious. So I had to go half calf. So now I'm starting to think my eye twitch is caffeine. I think I like figured it out on air. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, when you have to
I figured that out. No, you did. Okay. Whatever.
I gave you the worst look. I was like, we're both doctors.
You really did. I was like, you did. You got everything. Your sister.
Okay. No, we did it together.
I'm worthless. Why am I even here?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, but when to know that it is serious though, it says when to go to the doctor. Twitches last longer than a week.
Okay.
I haven't twitched today. I've only been up like an hour, but
you haven't had caffeine yet though.
I haven't.
Oh shit.
I'm gonna test myself. Okay. Eyelid closes completely. Spasms involve your facial muscles. So that would probably be like a Bell's palsy situation. Eye redness, swelling, discharge, or upper eyelid droops. Oh, this made me laugh. Okay. So there's like no real cure other than like cutting back on the alcohol and getting more sleep and blah, blah, blah. But the other one is the most common is Botox. And I was like, how funny would it be that I was just like, oh, I had to get, my eye was twitching. It's not that I was scared about wrinkles or aging. It's my eye twitch is the reason I got Botox.
It's medical. My insurance covered it.
Yeah. like I try to get in a car crash to get my nose done. Like
I'm about to get my nose done just so I can breathe again.
Was it Judy Gold? She had a joke about the fact that she had to get like reconstructive nose surgery, but on the inside because.
No, I didn't know. Why did she sound too nasal or like, what was it?
I don't know what it was, but there was some kind of issue and she basically, her whole inside of her nose got redone. Like her nose.
That's what I want. I want to scoop that shit out. I don't know what's going on with me, but I can't live like this anymore.
Okay, your Google.
Okay, so I Googled, why do I look so tired? Because, and I know you can't really see it, this camera for some reason, it has some sort of like Snapchat filter built into it because I don't look like this. Like, this is insane. I didn't even do makeup. I don't know what this camera is doing.
Yeah, you look incredible.
Because if I turn this camera off, like, do you remember on Pee-wee's Big Adventure when he was in the truck with Large Marge? And then he looks over and she's like, like she
Yeah.
had like the goo. That's me when you turn the camera off. That's what I actually look like. So,
Oh, sweet claymation. I'm excited.
so in Times of India says here are 5 reasons, right? Well, it starts with number 2 for some reason because they don't know how to do listicles, I guess. Because the first one's just the opening paragraph, and then number 2, allergies. Yep, there's that. Great, I have them. Yeah. Number 3, dehydration. Yep. Yeah. Never drink any water. I know I should. I try. It's hard. Okay. Number 4, intake of salty food. What? Yeah. Just cut to me with like a straw in
Just
my
like
soy
salt, like
sauce. It's like soy sauce. Just yeah. So yeah, that's too
with a
much of
straw
that.
in.
That's what I said. That's what I said. If I said a straw in my soy sauce.
Oh, I didn't hear it. I was laughing.
I know you were too busy making your own joke, but can you just
I
leave it
was
up to me? Just trust me.
You must be fatigued because you are very agitated right now, and I don't appreciate it.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I ruined your straw joke.
It's okay. Number 5, access caffeine intake. Yep, like I said, I've been drinking coffee and tea every hour on the hour. Just it gets me through the day. It breaks up the day. You know what I mean? Because like you do a
It's like
little work. It's like a break.
Yeah, it's fun. It gives you something to look forward to.
Yeah, and I don't drink anymore. So in the evening, I'm just having more coffee just
Yeah.
to kind of have something to drink. And number 6, oops, I clicked on a fucking ad. God damn it. Number 6, eye strain. What? No,
Oh yeah.
that's not that. Maybe
What?
it is.
All we do is stare at a steak.
All I do is stare at the computer. I'm editing constantly. Or yeah.
Yeah. You have all the symptoms.
I have every symptom it listed.
I literally could be like, does a podcast, and you'd be like, God damn it.
Yeah, because like the Zoom calls, the podcast, the editing, the fucking transcribing, like all the shit. Right. So I guess I'll just have to drink more water and like cut down my salt intake. And I don't know, but I'm just looking really old and tired lately.
Yeah, I've been slamming seltzer, and it is helping with dehydration, and I like it better than like, so I drink like my tea, so that's water, and then I have maybe a glass of regular water, but I've mostly been drinking like 5 seltzers a day.
Yeah,
And
but the tea has caffeine, so that dehydrates you. So it sort of cancels each other out. No, you're right. And then no, I mean green tea is much better for hydrating than any of the other teas or coffee.
And then all the weird botanicals of green tea. I'm sure we've talked about how green tea is good for you. Everybody says green tea is good
for you.
What do you
think is in green tea?
I don't know. I assume like some Asian woman comes up and just lifts my face and like clears my skin while I'm drinking it. Like, I don't know what I think. They make green tea sound like it has superpowers. So every time I drink it, like I really do think I'm like healing my body, like the way someone would be eating like kale for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, it does seem to have healing effects. I do think it makes you thinner.
I don't know. All I know is that I posted a picture yesterday of a donut and a cup of green tea, and I was like, they cancel each other out, right, guys? Like,
yeah, that's exactly how I think.
Yeah, I'm not too far from that logic. Like,
yeah, I'll have Chinese food every night, but every day for lunch I'm having a kale salad. So who knows what's bad? Who knows?
Yeah. Who's to know what the culprit is?
Yeah.
Okay, so are you going to try to make any changes now that
you
know
like
that
I'm gonna cut down on my caffeine. I have to. I'm gonna start getting some like decaf coffee and tea because I could still go through the ritual of making a drink and having a hot beverage. It just doesn't have to have caffeine in it. Salt, yeah, I can. It's a hard one to give up, isn't it? I'm gonna cut out iodized salt and just try to have the Himalayan shit. And then what else did it say? Dehydration, just drink more water. So that's what I'm gonna do, and I'll report back on how I feel.
You don't even have to report. You'll just be on camera, and I'll be like, "Girl, look at you." I will
just be a halo. You'll be like, "Oh my god, have you been drinking water?"
yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And the little water bottles are like hovering around you. My friend staying with has a water bottle. Like, you know how like a Fitbit will like calculate your steps, and then you can have a community, and they'll be like, "I'm taking 100,000 steps," not 100,000, but like I took, 10,000 steps today. You took 12,000 steps. Hers is water, so she has like it like glows when she hasn't drank enough water, and then it'll also like the water bottle is like it's like a smart water bottle, but it is kind of funny because like I'll be at her desk working, and then her water bottle will start like making weird noises and stuff. And I'm like, I think your water bottle's calling you. I don't, I don't know how to
It's
handle
so
this.
funny, like how we have inanimate objects telling us how to live our lives. Like my phone's like, what are you grateful for today? Like every day at 9 a.m. Don't forget to remind yourself what you're grateful for. Thank you,
Yeah.
Calm app.
Yeah. Thanks, Calm. Glad you're here to center me. Let's get personal.
Yeah.
What are you scared of becoming? I gave little examples. Did you see it? I can give them to you
No.
now.
What are they?
Okay, so like, are you scared of becoming bitter? Are you scared of becoming your parents? Are you
Oh
scared
my
to act
God.
like you're better than people? Are you scared to be unrelatable? Like, this question is like, what is the thing that, like, when you do something or like you see somebody else do something that you're like, please never let me become that?
Yeah. I'm afraid of becoming, I guess, angry and bitter, and all I ever do is complain, and I don't put myself out there. I don't try. I just sort of become a shut in and just give up. It's so tempting to give up because there's that much TV that I could just be like, I actually don't need anything.
The funniest thing I've ever heard. It's so easy to give up because there's that much TV. You're funny. You're
um,
not wrong either. Like, it's both funny and I'm like, yeah, it's a really solid perspective.
Yeah, I mean, if I just had to watch Netflix is actually like, yeah, it's just if I get out of the habit of watching Netflix, I get a lot of work done. And then once I go, you know what, go on, watch an episode in the middle of the day. Who cares? And then I'm just like, that's what
Yeah.
I do now. Like now every day at
Yeah,
3 p.m. I
this
want to
is who
watch
we
an
are.
episode. Yeah.
And then you're like, why is the coffee so far away? Just come to me.
Yeah. I see people who just are a bit older than me, just unhappy about where they are in life, but they're not doing anything to change it. They're just sort of just unhappy. And like I'm afraid of becoming that, and somebody who like one of those like open mic comedians who stays in open mics for 25 years, like
Yeah, we've
someone
talked
who
about
doesn't
that.
yeah, someone who doesn't progress and doesn't notice. And I don't know, as far as my own career, I'm like, how long do I keep doing this until I'm that? you know
Yeah. I mean,
a
I want to say like,
depressing fucking question.
no.
Oh
I
my
think
God.
the question brings awareness. Think about how everybody's like, "Oh, I'm so scared I'm going to become my mother. I'm so scared I'm going to become my father." Like, but like, then they don't have any awareness that, like, a the likelihood is high. They taught you how to be who you are, whether it was conscious or unconscious. So mine is definitely being bitter, and I went through a bitter phase, and I can realize that. And I had a lot of shame around it, but now I'm like, well, I'm out of it, and I just have to make sure I don't like go back into it. But I think we've all in this industry, especially, have dealt with bitter people, and it's like writhing, like you to have a conversation. Like I find myself like literally being like, I might leave the whole business just to not be in this conversation right now. Like
Yeah.
I find it so uncomfortable, and sometimes it's uncomfortable because it's penetrating my own fears of becoming that,
Oh
and
yeah.
and relating to them. Like sometimes they'll be like, right, the way they treat women, and I'm just like, well, it's not just because you're a woman. Like you're also unpleasant to talk to. Like, you know what I mean? Like you want to be like, but I also agree that it is harder for women, or this business is unfair. Like it's hard to hear somebody be
That's
so,
really funny.
you know what I mean? Like so
You're also
relentlessly
unpleasant
awful
to
to
talk
talk
to.
to, and
Yeah.
you're
Oh yeah.
agreeing
Oh
with
my
it.
God. Half the people who blame stuff on being a woman is like, I'm like, I don't think this isn't on women. This time it's
Yeah,
you.
no, yeah. You're just like, it could be 10%, but it's not 100%. Like some of it is your personality, and no
Yeah.
one's going to tell you that. I do worry about it. I see it in my family and people, even people that I love. I see it and I go, oh, I don't know. Like you're going down a path is going to be unpleasant for everyone involved. But I think, there's definitely fears of certain habits my dad has that
Do
I've
you think
been
that,
up.
sorry, do you think that your career has changed since you've become less bitter about other people's paths and success? And like, since you kind of like just had more of a not a peripheral vision, more of a tunnel vision about what you want. And like, I think that you have actively made a change to not be so like negative in your speaking and in your thinking of others. And I think I've noticed that because I've been like, oh my God, this person's so fucking annoying. And you'll be on my side, but without actually indulging in that too,
Yeah, no,
And
it was really active. Like it was really noticing that I was never a big gossiper, but I was like, if you would go, hey, did you hear blah, 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 got that? I would go on a rampage about how they don't deserve it and fuck them and da da da
yes,
da. And now you'll go, hey, did you hear da da da, got that? And I go, oh, you know what? They work really hard. And like not lying. I'll be like, you know what? I noticed they've worked really hard. And while I might not find them funny, or I might not think they're the most deserving in a creative sense, they worked hard and it worked out for them. And that's great. And I hope the same thing is done onto me and done onto you and done onto my friends. But like, I've noticed that like, I don't always have the full picture. How people get to where they are is so random and all over the place that there's not, you know what it is? It's been a mixture of paying attention to my thoughts and how I talk about people, and knowing that I don't want people to talk about that about me, but also this understanding that everything is out of our control, and that success really is a mixture of talent, hard work, and luck. And I don't always have luck on my side, but I'm controlling everything that I can control. And
Yep.
so if somebody walks into a room and they get the part and it's pure luck, good for them. I hope someday I also fall into a pile of luck. Right now, I'm just on the timing and talent and hard work part, and that's all I can control. I think for me, being more aware of how I talk to people, and when I do hear friends kind of go on a negative thing, I will be there for them, but I'll also be like, well, you want that opportunity too. Do you think you're upset because you feel you're also as deserving of that opportunity and you feel like they're taking it away from you, which isn't logically what's happening. Maybe if your dream is to host the Golden Globes, then yeah, once a year, one person has that opportunity. But for the most part, if your goal is to have a sitcom, it does feel like there's endless opportunities to have a sitcom.
There was like a on Peep Show, one of the guys was like, I think he was looking at a happy couple or something. He's just like, ugh, look at them. They're stealing all the happiness. And then the other one was like, that is not how happiness works. And then his inner monologue was like, that is exactly how happiness works.
Yeah, I've even noticed, like, I was on like a couple, did stand up on a Valentine's Day show, and then I did like a panel Valentine's Day show thing. It was like a little chat thing with my friend Ian when it started, and he was like, "What are you doing today?" And I was like, "I got a COVID test in the cold. It was freezing." But what I also did is I stayed off Instagram, because everybody's posting their, I love my, and I'm not angry about it now, not being in a relationship, but I also don't need to shove that down my throat either. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And so
Yeah.
it's also the same thing that, like, a good example is like, we'll have somebody we know get something, and I'll be like, I think I don't want to talk about it today, because I don't think I can control my emotions. I think I might say something shitty that's, even if they never hear it, it's still not the right way of putting myself out there. So I have made a lot of baby efforts to not be bitter about people's relationships or people, success in their career or what have you. If I have to not be around it so that I can be a better version of myself, I'll do that. You should be able to be around it, but there's just some days that are harder. But I would say, like, fear of being bitter, fear of some attributes that my dad exhibits that I feel he's unconscious of. I think I'm really scared of being unrelatable, and
Oh yeah.
and it's really interesting to me, because I think I grew up feeling unrelatable, like feeling like a freak, feeling unlovable, feeling like people don't get me. Then through comedy, I really learned social skills. And I remember maybe 5 years into comedy still saying this thing that wasn't true anymore, which is that I don't know how to talk to people. And it just wasn't true. Like, I built up skills to talk to people on stage, and then I figured out how to do it off stage. I built confidence in myself and being funny. And that all of a sudden, I'm great at parties. I still don't like them, but I'm great at parties. I'm great at meeting new people. I know how to be a good podcast guest. Like, there's all this stuff that I gained through comedy that has made me a different version of myself. But I am weirdly scared of, like, diminishing returns, like where I come up here, I now can talk to people and I'm like fun to be around. And at some point, I'm going to just talk about cats too much, or like a podcast. I'm scared that I'm going to get so me and so, like, confident. This sounds like crazy, but like, be so content with myself that I don't try to be on people's page.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because it's like there's this fear that you're going to lose some aspect to your personality if you try to get rid of too much.
Yeah.
Like that critical thinking, that thing that makes you the comedian that you are, the thing that makes you think differently or whatever. And then
Sorry to interrupt you, but if I lose that little fear of being liked, maybe I won't work hard enough to be relatable, to be approachable, to be kind. Like, there is a
right.
part of me that's worried that if I love myself wholeheartedly, that I will be that, like, and I don't want it. Like, maybe if I
Yeah.
was a fashion designer, I could be eccentric and not care what people think, but that's not what our career is. Our career is about relatability and humor. And there's a part of me that fears that I'm going to get so healthy. This is crazy, by the way. I'm going to get so healthy, heal all my wounds, And then I'm just going to come out on stage and be like, you're welcome, everybody. And they're going to be like, this is trash.
Yeah, there's that thing in the back of your head, like, well, if you get too perfect, you're nothing, you're not relatable, you have nothing to say. I mean, that's
I'm
why I don't
so
want to
far
get
from it.
rich. I need to be able to relate to people.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, I can't
actively
get
stopping
rich.
myself from all my riches.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just like, you put in the savings account, you forget about it, you could be rich. Okay, let's get into our topic.
Yeah.
Our topic this week is abandonment issues. I don't know
Yay.
why I said it so excited.
Yeah.
You know why I'm weirdly excited about this topic?
Why?
It is the first therapy psychological thing that I identified and made jokes about, but understood that I had it way before therapy. Like I was making abandonment issue jokes, and maybe it's because it's in the zeitgeist and it's the one therapy thing everybody knows about. That could be it, and it's maybe cliche, and I was pulling from cliche jokes. You know, one of my favorite jokes from my first album is the comparison of my cat's abandonment issues to mine. I go, my cat has some of the worst abandonment issues I've ever seen that I only recognize because I see them in myself. I listened to that recently and I was like, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I have one.
Yeah.
Like the being needy about like my boyfriend, like needing to hang out every night, but I'm needy with everybody. Like I was sitting at a
Yes.
cafe and then the person next to me got up to leave and I felt it. I was like, where are you going? What is this? Are you
It's
coming
one of
back?
my
I miss
favorite
you.
jokes. And I remember when you first did it, and all I could think is like, is everyone else as aware? Like because it's such a perfectly subtle joke that I'm like, you have to have what you have. And then when it kills, I'm like, we're all broken. Like I get really excited when I'm in the audience and it does well, because I'm just like, to me, it's such a perfect joke that like without saying all the words, you're just like, why isn't everybody, where are we going? I needed you. Like, I just
Yeah.
loved it. I don't know, man. Like, I did some research and I thought I healed a lot of this, and I have not. Like, that's pretty much what's like, I'm in a slight existential crisis because I was like, I've gotten over a lot of it. I still have some of my abandonment issues, and then I was like reading it and I was like, nope, I got rid of one.
Okay.
Oh God.
Well, let's talk about it.
I feel like abandonment issues is pretty self-explanatory, but for the most part, they believe the biggest contribution has to do with your childhood. So it's it could be anything from a traumatic event of like a lost parent, or, like a divorce, parents leaving, or a death of a parent. But what I think we have experienced is basically not getting enough physical or emotional care as a child. Like,
But
and then you're going to pretend like I don't know you? Is that what you're doing right now?
I don't understand how you can think that I didn't get enough emotional care as a child. I got too much. I was smothered with emotional care.
Yeah, but it was inconsistent. That's the other. I'll get into
How?
it.
Okay.
I'm right on this.
I don't think so. Actually, I'm going to fight you on this one. I'll usually let you analyze me. I'll be like, she right. But like this time, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to this argument. They do also acknowledge that you can have it. It can be onset as an adult when you lose a partner. So, if your boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband dies, leaves, all that stuff can trigger abandonment issues. But many of them are stemmed from childhood. Okay. So emotional abandonment, just so we're clear, is when you don't let a child express their emotions. You ridicule your children, put too much pressure on the child to be perfect, and treat the child like they're your peers. Common sides: giving too much or being overly eager to please, jealousy in your relationships or others, trouble trusting your partner's intentions, feeling insecure about your relationship, having difficulty in feeling intimate emotionally, needing to control or be controlled by your partner, settling for unsatisfactory relationships, overly sensitive to criticism, difficulty trusting others, difficulty making friends unless for sure someone likes you, taking extreme measures to avoid rejection or separation, getting attached to people quickly, but then moving on just as quickly, difficulty committing to a relationship, blaming yourself when things don't work out, and then staying in a relationship even if it's healthy, which is settling. So those are all like the common signs that you have abandonment issues. I mean, I don't have all of them, but there were a lot where I was like, yep.
Okay, yours are like people pleasing, avoiding a relationship.
I would say people pleasing for sure, avoiding relationships, not being as emotionally intimate, in fear, like if they get to know me, they're not going to want to be with me. Oh crap, my battery's low. And it's different with each relationship, because I think different people can like trigger you, but I would often I now can tell that I would put a wall up and I wouldn't completely be myself or completely commit to not commit in the sense that I'm not like cheating or whatever, but emotionally I wouldn't completely be there because I'm scared of them getting to know me or being completely vulnerable, I guess, if and that's the case. And I did that a lot earlier on, and I still struggle with that a little bit. I would definitely get in the beginning of a relationship, have a lot of fears that if we're not together or we're not in constant communication, that they don't like me anymore and they don't want to be around me and that they're going to break
Mm,
up with me. Like I've
I have
definitely
that
had,
one.
yeah, I've dealt with that a lot, and it's kind of gotten better, but it's kind of hard to even analyze if something's gotten better because I'd be in a relationship for a couple of years, be single for a couple of years. Every relationship starts the same with this abandonment anxiety as soon as I like someone. I also have a real fear of being annoying because that's like my insecurity. So in the beginning of the relationship, I sometimes feel like I can't fully be my annoying self. And now I'm just like, if somebody doesn't like me at my annoying self, they don't like me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're
At
just
some
kind
point,
of
it's
like,
just me. Yeah.
yeah. You're like, I know me labeling it as annoying is problematic, but the truth of the matter is I like being like that's what I do. Like it takes me a lot longer to trust people. It takes me a lot longer to show up emotionally. I'm fun, but like to really be vulnerable. And like I got better in my last relationship, I know, because I would say, hey, these are my I'm worried that you're going to sideswipe me and out of nowhere you're just going to end things and I'm not going to know why. So if you're upset, I want to trust you and know that you're going to say something. And then I started to be able to say the same thing, which I was always scared of people sideswiping me, but then I would sideswipe other people. And then I was like, that's telling. But I think in general, I have a real fear of people seeing me as I am. Like I think that's where, and then seeing me and not wanting to be with me. And that
Mm.
and then I've dated people. What I've noticed from this list is that I date those people too. I am dating the people pleaser. I am dating the emotional avoidant person. And they have a couple attachment issues that I'll list later. But like everything that I'm doing, I'm also dating that person and then getting frustrated when they don't do it. And then I think I read to you, there's some like Instagram relationship person that I like. And he was like, unpopular opinion. The reason you keep dating the person that is emotionally closed off or not intimate is because you are emotionally closed off and can't be emotionally
Oh, I
intimate. And I was like,
100% think that I've chased, right? I always went for the emotionally unavailable people and like the guys who just didn't want a relationship. I was like, well, I'm in love with you now. And then like I chased them, but like I think it's because my parents are so overbearing. They're so overprotective. They're so like, my dad calls me every day to make sure I'm alive. Like they're so that I feel smothered. And because of that, I'm safe chasing someone. I know they're not going to smother me. So I know like if I'm the one smothering,
yeah,
then
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
fine. It's almost like it's like smother or be smothered.
I guess and you can clearly tell me if I'm wrong. I guess I always assume, because this is funny. I do think we grew up very differently and met in the same place, which I always find really funny.
Yeah.
We both are broken, like we're both broken vases, but like I was thrown and you were just like rolled endlessly. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Until like wore it down. Like it just feels like I've noticed so much with my friendships that it's like we both have the same problems, but we got there in wildly different ways.
Yeah.
But from understanding your family, I think there's a part of me that it's still inconsistent. And I think that inconsistency brings on anxiousness. So with me, my mom, I didn't know if I was going to get, like, my mom was either sad or angry. Those were my mom's emotions. They both equally weren't fun, but sad was safer than angry. Then my dad was either, yeah, let's fix this, I got you, or just crazy overbearing, yell at, like they were both super inconsistent. I never knew if I was getting nice dad or like, punished, you're the worst at it for no reason. I kind of see in some ways there's like your parents are overbearing, but when did they show up emotionally for you? And I feel like that was inconsistent, because the message you're sending when somebody is overbearing is that they care about you, but they care about you in a place where you can't be heard, that you're not trusted, that your autonomy isn't, you know what I mean, your ability to take care of yourself isn't trusted. But then there's clearly scenarios either with clearly your brother being trusted. So I just think in some ways maybe the inconsistency was between you and your siblings, or your inconsistency was between how your dad would show up for you, but there was some kind of inconsistency. That's my
Yeah, it's like
analyzing.
it was like it's like I love you, but don't do that. Like
Yeah,
don't be a comedian. Don't, but I mean he does love me unconditionally because like
of course. So
I
did my
still
parents.
did what I want and he still loved me, but it wasn't like I felt like he knew me 100% and loved me, and I felt like that was supportive, it's just like, "I love you because you're my daughter." It's not the same as I was telling who was I telling? I think Johnny. I was like, "I think support is so underrated." Because you ever met the comedians whose whole family comes to their comedy shows and, like, they, like, soar. They do so well,
Yeah.
like, Amy Schumer's dad, like, I think he was supportive of her career, and Lena Dunham, she could say whatever she want. I just remember, like, thinking Lena Dunham's talking about sex and, like, to her mom and just being like, "What the fuck?" And, like,
Yeah.
just, like, parents who support their kids do really well, and then, like, I still didn't feel even though they love me, I didn't feel supported. I didn't feel like they would come to a comedy show, but I don't know if that they would like, I've never made my dad laugh, you know?
Yeah. I remember the first time my dad came and saw me was when I taped for Comedy Central. I was 22 years old and nervous out of my mind. And I did my set. There were some restrictions for Comedy Central, but I did my set and my mom looked scary. Like my mom looked terrified for me in the audience and I couldn't look
Oh.
at her. And then after the show, I saw my parents. I'm like high as a kite. It went well, blah, blah, blah. And my dad looked so disappointed in me. And then afterwards, I think it was days later, he was like, that's not what I thought you did, or something like that. And it just took the wind out of my sails. Like it just really, and so going forward, I didn't, because I used to not invite them because I didn't think I was good enough. And then when I was on TV, I was like, they're going to see that I'm taping. They're going to see that I'm good enough, da, 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 da. But, my dad's very strict about language and all this stuff. So then going forward, my dad would want to, and he was supportive in other ways, but he would want to be supportive and come. And I was like, Dad, you can't come. And he's like, why? I was like, because if I see you look disappointed or you make me feel bad about my set, you just ruin comedy for me. So if you cannot control your face and how you feel about my stuff, you can't come. And we kind of came to like a nice agreement. And my dad was like, you're right. I'm not sure. I don't like everything that you're saying. And it was like pleasant. But then, and so the only things I invited him to was when it was like super restricted. Like I did a show for a marathon, like a marathon pasta dinner, and it was all running jokes and it was all clean. So then fast forward, my special taping is like, I'm stressing out about it. It was November of 2019 and my mom's coming, she's inviting staff. Like, so even my dad invited his staff to go, but he was like, should I come? And I go, I don't know if that's a good idea. And he goes, okay, well, I want to be supportive. So maybe I can wear like noise canceling headphones and sit in the back. And I go,
Oh.
Dad, I'm going to be doing a special and there's going to be an old man with headphones on. They're going to think there's like some weird guy, stalker man is in the back, or like that you work for the crew. Like, what is, I was like, that's really nice, but no, like, no, you can't come if you think you're going to have to wear noise canceling headphones. And then he ended up watching it on YouTube. He goes, it wasn't that bad. It was so funny. My dad calls me up. He goes, it wasn't that bad. Not great show or whatever. He's just talking about the language and the topics. It wasn't that bad. I enjoyed it. Oh, I did want to say the type of styles. Okay, so there's a couple of different attachment styles that people with abandonment issues have. So there's the avoidant attachment style. You do not allow people to get close to you. You may feel you can't open up to others, making you appear distant, private, or withdrawn. I was very much that in the beginning of my dating, is that I just was super closed off. So I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be open, but I just couldn't do it. And I've also, as I've gotten healthier, have still dated that person and noticed that I'm not as healthy as I think I am because I keep dating. They're in a relationship. They are my boyfriend, but they are like walls, all four sides. Anxious, which we've talked about before.
That
So
one's
anxious.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. So anxious attachment is feels anxious when separated from their partner, tend to be more emotionally reactive. It may be easy to see conflicts as a concern that your partner may leave you, which makes you act in fear.
Yeah.
I've also been that. I still struggle with that one.
That one's one where I'm calling you. I'm like, I'm being crazy right now, but I'm sure it's over. I'm like, it's, like he hates
He
me.
hates me. And I'm like, what happened? You're like, he didn't return my text for 45 minutes and I know he's in a meeting. And I'm like,
right, exactly.
cool, cool, cool.
But it's over and I know it.
It's over. In the beginning of relationships, I'm much more like that. I've gotten a little bit better, but relationships are a real trigger. Like start the beginning of a relationship. I've said it before. I can't enjoy the honeymoon period of a relationship because I'm in constant like distress of like, like I want to heal that. I want to be able to enjoy the fun part, or just accept that maybe it just might be the fun part and then they go away and then it wasn't meant to be because they can also only handle the fun part. Like I have this like belief that even short relationships are somehow my fault. and not we got to know each other and it wasn't the right fit.
Yeah.
And then the last one is, I've never heard of this one, disorganized attachment style, having difficulty remaining intimate and close because it could also be inconsistent and may feel anxious being in a relationship and want to avoid closeness. So I kind of feel like that's anxious and avoidant put together.
Yeah, I think that's like a different way of saying like it's a combined. I think I have a friend who's like that. He gets into relationships. He's all about them for a good month and then he's like hater. You're just like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, I find myself very anxious in the beginning and then feeling comfortable, and then when things get hard becoming avoidant, and that's both of those not healthy. So this is treating, clearly understanding what your triggers are, learning to withdraw when triggered. You can sometimes go, hey, I'm scared you're going to leave me and it's causing me this anxiety, and they can calm you. But like if it's every week, at some point you have to do your own work. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's not fair to make them always calm this thing that's, they're like, I just went to the bathroom. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. It's totally
get comfortable having the conversations about your fears in a calm and respectful manner. I do think being able to say like, hey, I'm acting out in fear. I'm trying not to put this on you, but da 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 da. Not, and even sometimes I'll be like, it's not that you actually even need to change anything. It's just, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna tell you not to go on a business trip. Like, it's
Yeah.
just, I have said when I'm traveling, like, I'll let you know when I land, but that's because I want you to tell me when you land. I just have so much anxiety that you're gonna die in the sky that I just let me know that you landed. Like, I know you're busy. I know
Yeah.
you're tired. And then, of course, they say therapy. You can explore the root of the problem, which we've kind of talked about different roots. And then we all make fun of self-care. We all make fun of it. It's silly, but it's really helpful. And I've really noticed like self-care is like journaling, going for walks, doing other things you enjoy. But sometimes when you're in this kind of anxious spiral because, you know, somebody didn't send a text message for 45 minutes, just being like, Liz, it's been 45 minutes. Like, you got it. Like, and just kind of talking to yourself, journaling, even the thing you talked about at the beginning of this, doing what you did in what we talked about right at the beginning, which is where did these beliefs come from? Why do I assume when somebody doesn't text me back within 45 minutes, they completely stopped loving me? But yeah, I journal a lot. When I feel reactive, my first thought process is to either call like you or call a close friend and be like, am I being crazy? And then if it doesn't go away, it's to journal and be like, where is this really coming from? And then kind of letting it calm, so that what normally happens is they then text you and they go like nothing. It's so funny that you'll have a mental breakdown and then they text you to be like, hey, how was
yes.
your day? And they don't know that for 3 hours, you just discovered you've been broken up with in your
Yeah.
head, freaked out, then healed yourself.
Yeah.
And now they're like, hey, how was your day? I was thinking that we could go get some dinner tonight. And you're like, can I tell them that I just had the worst day of my life from something they didn't really cause and it's not their fault, but that's how I interpreted
Oh my
it.
God. Baron Vaughn had a joke about like voicemails left from a girl on
Yes.
his. Do you remember that joke?
Yes,
It was
it's
like
so
his act. That
good.
was one of the funniest jokes. And I wish I could remember like, I mean, but her ascension into insanity on like the more he didn't call her back and she just kept leaving voicemails. Was that how it went? And then
Yeah,
he
and
was just
I knew the girl I was friends at the time with the girl that he was dating. I was really close with him, but he wrote that joke too. But like it was just like, hey, just wanted to see if you wanted to hang out later. Click. Hey, it's been like an hour. I just want to make sure that you're okay. Give me a call back. Click. If you don't want to fucking be with me, you should just fucking say it, because you know what? I deserve love. I deserve love. You know what? Pick up your stuff. I don't give a fuck. Click. I just saw that you were doing a podcast and I want to apologize. Like it was like, but he does it so much. It's so good. We have to find it. But on that lovely note, we would love to hear if you learned anything from us. You could tell us. Probably don't want to hear about all your abandonment issues, but like what you've kind of done to self-soothe when you feel like
and if
you are
we don't
being
write
triggered.
back right away,
Yeah,
don't freak out.
we don't want you to tell us about your abandonment issues, and we are very behind on emails. But you can write into us at non-fullworddoctors@gmail.com. Tell us about how you've healed your abandonment issues and what you've done to not put that burden on the person you are dating. But thank you so much, guys. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.